Rounding out the news this week, we learned that DC Comics is actually releasing a D&D 5e sourcebook. It's based on the sci-fantasy setting that DC released a little while ago, actually, called The Last God. And The Last God, DC seems to be trying to diversify its batfolio of comic and fantasy offerings and taking a swing at tabletop this time. So from what we know, DC is releasing a comprehensive 40-page source book that's said to include everything that you need to begin a campaign in this new world or adventure setting, and using the experience with the 5e rule set to platform this new campaign. Now, obviously, as a business, it seems like they're looking to leverage this new resurgence in the popularity of D&D to help bring about some creative awareness for what they're doing and push the brand itself into this new audience. I feel like we've seen that somewhere before, maybe even recently, but I'm drawing a blank on it. In any case, it's been listed as a one-shot adventure at the list price of $4.99 US. And honestly, for that price point and the 40-page item, it sounds to me like it's going to play out more like a supplement or an addendum or just kind of something that's aimed mainly to drum up interest for the existing piece, which is the comic series The Last God. But if you're interested in it, when it releases, it's supposed to be available at comic book retailers, and they've said select or participating digital retailers. So I don't know if that means it's going to be available on D&D Beyond or DM's Guild or Drive-Thru RPG, but presumably one or all of those outlets will make this new piece available from DC. At least it's not like, a straight ad shtick. I mean, DC Comics has narrative clout, and it might actually be pretty good. There certainly were a lot of fans, it seems, for The Last God, the comic series, and it seemed like a really cool concept too. So we know that the source book is going to be called The Last God, Tales from the Book of Ages, and it's based on the Last God series that was written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Riccardo Federici. And it begins decades after a world-defining victory over and the defeat of a malignant god and their hordes of undead armies. And in this case, segments of or parts of that horde have started to resurface in the world, and that's where we hand it over to you, the player, to determine what happens next in this new saga. So the world of The Last God is called Cain Anun, and the compendium for 5e is set to release on April 29th, 2020. As for some of my personal opinions or impressions as I'm reading through this, like I said, given the size and the price point, I think it's really going to play out more like a supplement. So I don't know if calling it a 5e source book or an official or a 5e compendium is really justified more than kind of hypey. So I would look at this more like a compendium or supplement to manage our own expectations. But in that, for the price of $5, I think it might be worthwhile even just seeing if you can pull some content from it for your own game or use it as inspiration in the worlds that you're building and playing through today. So for that alone, I think might be worth the $5 if the content's good and the art promises to be really nice from what I've seen. So if you like it enough after that, then it's a great gateway to check out the published comic series titled The Last God. And I think that's exactly what they want, is for this to be an entry mechanism to introduce people to the comic series. And if it works, it works. Great. Then everybody wins, right? You got content you like, and the DC sells stuff.